listening to Community Forum on KCCC 930 AM, sponsored by Eddy County, honoring God, country, and family, thriving with industry since 1889.
Thank you for listening to Community Forum. I'm Hattie, and I am on the road. I am today visiting the Carlsbad High School Culinary Arts Department, and I'm going to ask everybody to introduce themselves, and then I'll tell you why we're here.
Hello, my name is Amanda Hale, and I'm one of the culinary instructors here at CHS.
My name is Joslyn, Frintz, and I am one of the CHS students.
My name is David Balderrama. I'm also a CHS student.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And so why we're here is that Carlsbad has the distinction of being the state champions in the ProStart culinary competition. Is that correct?
That is correct. We are New Mexico's ProStart state champions in both management and culinary.
Oh, that's impressive.
It is. We are super excited.
Yeah, that is okay. So tell me about ProStart a little bit.
Okay, so ProStart is the national restaurants curriculum and program that high school students can go through. And it's traditionally a 2-year high school program that reaches right now approximately like 130,000 students throughout the states and also territories. So we're one of them that competes. We spread ours out over the traditional high school. So instead of it being a 2-year program, we make it into a 4-year program. Some high schools choose to do 2 or 4, depending on if they're like a tech center or a regular high school kind of stuff. And it offers state and national competitions where students can compete with their peers. They also can receive scholarships. And so there's 2 different competitions that they have. We have culinary, which I like to describe it as Iron Chef for kids. And so these kids do amazing things with the time allotted. So they get a 10-foot square, 2 tables, 2 butane burners, no running water, no refrigeration, and hand tools, and have to make a 3-course meal. They get to choose the meal, and we have to bring all the equipment, all the food, and they have to make 2 of each plate. So 2 of the same appetizer, 2 of the same entree, 2 of the same dessert. And then management is like Shark Tank for kids. And this is where they get to develop their own restaurant, depending on the brief that they're given. So they're given a fake city. It's called ProStartville, and they can choose a restaurant of their choosing, the menu of their choosing, and they have to build it and like basically pitch it to the judges as their own restaurant, and like they would to investors and answer questions.
Okay, that's super cool. I didn't even know about that part of it. That's amazing.
Yeah, management does not get the love it deserves.
Yeah, well, it's because there's no food.
There is food, though. There is food. Because for their restaurant concept, they have to develop their menu, and they have to create recipes and actually cook that and take pictures of their food.
Oh,
so they have to actually have like food background. So like for our state champs who went to nationals, they did a restaurant called Adobe. I'm gonna lose my mind. Adobe Hearth. And I wanted to say Adobe Rose. Shout out to our teacher. But it was Adobe Hearth, and they did a fry bread. And so we had to develop a recipe for the fry bread. We had to make it, and we took photos of it. And then you have to put it in your packet and present that. And it is actually on their poster, too.
Well, that's excellent. All right, and then we have 2 students with us now, Joslyn and, I'm sorry, I'm bad with names.
David.
I did tell you that I was bad with names. All right, so Joslyn and David, and you were in the competitions, both state and national?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so Joslyn, tell me what you did in the competition.
So I was on the culinary team, and I cooked the entree.
All right, what was it?
I did a lamb loin with a red chili pecan crust, a medley of vegetables, a semolina cake with a mushroom ragu.
Oh my goodness, that sounds wonderful. I'm ready for that. Right, I'm so ready for lunch. I should have eaten before I came. That sounds great. And David, what did you do in the competition?
I was basically their timekeeper. I made sure everything tasted great, kept them on time, I kept them organized so nobody got like too flustered or anything.
Yeah, so you ran the kitchen?
Yeah, basically. But I'm really impressed with our team. This year we did great with communication and teamwork. There's some stuff we could have worked on, but we did overall amazing. I'm proud of our team. So.
As you should be. State champions, 15th in the nation. And Mrs. Hale just told us how many students participate in this thing. So.
Yeah, so in the state competition, it's a little bit smaller, obviously, because it's teams around the state. I believe they had, I want to say, 10 competitors in culinary, and then this year we only had 2 schools that showed up for management, which is really rare for state. And then at nationals, everybody that is a state or a territory can compete. And so I think they had about 50 different competing states at nationals and over, 400 students at nationals.
Amazing. And you guys came in 15th. I love that. That's so impressive. All right. So what's it like preparing for the competitions?
So what it's like is a lot of developing your own menu and like trying and then like finding the flaws and like what to change out, and then you also have to do your costing and it has to fit a certain budget, and it's a lot of other stuff.
That's more the technical part of it, but more the like emotional and physical task is, again, since a lot of us have jobs, since we are juniors and seniors, we're having to practice early in the morning. Like we were getting here like 6:30 in the morning, staying here till about halfway through first hour, or majority through first hour, and then cleaning up our dishes. It was a lot of like physical, but it wasn't. It was really fun for majority of the time. Sometimes it was like we didn't want to get up because,
Yeah.
like, especially travel for state, we were here at like one day we were here from 5 o'clock to like 12, prepping everything, making sure we all had all our coolers filled and everything. But it was like good team bonding at some moments. Sometimes it wasn't because we were really tired, but it was a pretty good experience overall.
I can see why you run the team timing. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so it's a lot of moving parts, and we have a community that helps support us and make it happen, and the students really showed up this year. And like we tried to develop our menu as the year goes on, so we kind of start in August looking at things, and then we try to just talk to the students, what would you like to do, how would you like to do it, and then we start doing individual students and their individual kind of plates and doing it, and then we kind of come together as a team after winter break. And so we really hit it harder this year than last year. And so from January to about March, we did 2-day practices, 2 days, so like 2 times a week. They were here at 6:30 in the morning, and it's about a 3-hour practice because you have to set up, cook, and then break down, and then put all your stuff like away for the next day kind of stuff. And then that does include shopping and getting all your ingredients and stuff like that. And so us as instructors, we spend a lot of time getting the stuff here, and then the students take it from there.
Okay, and so there are multiple instructors in the department.
Yeah, so right now we have 3 culinary instructors at CHS. Me and Kevin Zink are the ones that handle the competition and kind of manage that part of it, as well as daily teaching life. And then we have Alice Rhodes is the 3rd person. She does hospitality classes as well as some cooking classes, and she's kind of our newest teacher. And so she's slowly getting it acclimated, and kind of hopefully next year we'll bring her in a little bit more and have her do stuff. But she definitely holds down the fort when we go to competition. So like me and Mr. Zink, when we leave for state, I drive the students, he drives the equipment up, and she's here holding down regular classes and helping the subs out while we're gone.
That's great. So there are more people in the program than participate in the competitions?
Yeah, so the program overall, we sit a little under 400 students when we start like the school year, and then we have students that move and stuff like that. So we're one of the largest electives at the high school. And then the students they get the ProStart like curriculum throughout the regular classes. So they learn how to do their knife cuts. But then when they go to compete, you have to pick certain knife cuts, and they have to be measured perfectly, and kind of like, and that's what you get graded on or judged on. And so they learn, like the program is set up to be able to learn that, and then if you want to, you can compete. So competition's open to everybody. And again, it's very rigorous. These are the students that are showing up and working their butts off. Right. And so, but everybody's going to learn how to cut, do knife cuts and how to handle a knife and how to clean it. And then you use those skills at competition to make things amazing and put your plates together.
It bodes really well for the future that so many people are learning to cook, even if they're not competitors and they're not going on to professional kitchens, just that they want to come and learn
Yeah, I think our overall reaching goal is exposure for students, exposure to different cooking styles, different food, and learning to better themselves through food. And then if there's, obviously we want to channel these students into the job market and stuff like that and get them where they do. And so really like the statistic that hits me harder is that like 70% of our students are going to be in food service for their first job.
Oh,
And I want that to be the stepping stone for every student to get wherever they need to be. And so I want them to have that great foundation and have something to always come back to if they need it, or like, I myself will like help bartend a couple weddings here and there, or do private chef events just to, stay busy, make a little bit of extra cash, and as well as like networking and
Absolutely.
opportunities. So like I see it as the stepping stones. And then we have students like Joslyn and David who are very much in this industry and want to be in it. And so then we try to get them further into it, like internships, jobs. Like David works at a local restaurant. We know those people, and we communicate with them, and that's an open communication and working relationship that we have. So like they don't mind giving David time off because they know like he's going to go to competition with us and
Right.
learn skills that he can bring out.
Nice. That's excellent. Awesome. Okay, so reach you guys, and then I had reached out to Mrs. Hale, and we were like, yes, something toward the end of the year, and then I ran into some of you at the what do you call that, reception at the History Garden grand opening. Excellent food, by the way. My son, who is a super picky eater, was absolutely in love with the goat cheese that was served. He took so much of it. It was so funny. He's like, no, I need more. And then he's like going back for seconds, I mean, it was just adorable. And he's not an eater, except pizza, obviously. And so it was just like, this is amazing. I'm going to make this at home now. And I love cooking too, but I am the slowest person on the planet. So how do you get to like professional speed?
I think a lot of practice and just knowing what you're cooking also helps, like getting that consistency.
Sure. Okay. So lots of practice. Practice. That's how you get to Carnegie Hall, right?
And honestly, it's a lot of like just experience over time. Like, of course, when you first start cooking, it's slow. Like freshman year, me, I was so slow in my cuts. I was trying to do so good, and even when I was taking my time, cuts are so bad. And sophomore me, like year me, it was like better. But now, like junior and going towards senior, it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
Like I can go a lot faster, and the cuts are more accurate. And I think that like goes for a lot of our students. The ones that go all 4 years, they slowly get better and better, and then it makes it easier for them. So then they can focus more on enjoying the food and like finishing the cooking, where they can come back to class and relax after cooking. Because that's what we do in our labs is they get food that they're able to cook and then after they cook it, they're able to eat it. But
Nice.
they get to relax after they cook for a second. Sometimes it's not a lot, sometimes it is sometimes, but it helps with you get faster over time just with more experience and more like hands-on experience.
As an amateur chef, I feel like I put love when I'm in my food, when I'm cooking. Do you feel that way too? Like you're doing this thing as a labor of love for the people that you're creating it for? Do you think it's okay if it's not for you?
It also depends on the situation. Like sometimes if I'm cook for yourself, I'm like really hungry. It's like a lot of love because I need to make this good. But majority of the time, that's especially why I started cooking and why I really want to get in the industry is because I want when I give somebody food, they want to be like, oh, this looks so good and it tastes so good, and they
Yeah.
genuinely leave the restaurant in like a better mood than what they did coming in. So that's my main goal of cooking.
And do you think you want to go into the industry, both of you, in the future?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And what kind of environment do you want to be in? Not like mood wise and like, it's the chef plight, but like what kind of food do you want to cook in? Like what kind of restaurant do you want to work in, or do you want to work in events and catering, or like what are you thinking?
I'm not sure. I'm kind of on the fence of like a restaurant, catering, just kind of like moving along, seeing what I want to do. You know what I mean? I
Check
do
it
like
out.
a busier kitchen,
Do you?
having a lot of things to do, so it's easier to just get in that flow
Yeah.
of cooking.
Get in the zone. Nice. What do you think, David?
That's also, yeah, I also want to do one of those things. Ever since I like figured out I want to cook, I've always been like thinking I want to go like a Michelin star restaurant. But after really like learning how they are, I want more experience before I'm able to do that. But I like just thought about it. I was thinking like the later in life when I'm like 40, 45, probably slow down, do caterings and stuff.
Yeah.
Or when I'm like high 30s or so. But I don't wanna like do my whole life inside of a kitchen. I wanna do like after a couple years, like 10-ish years, I wanna be able to start a catering business or something because it's something that it's still hard to do and it's still a lot of kitchen work, but it's where I can keep my hands on food and help people.
Oh, I like that. Speaking of hands-on food and help people, I don't know if you saw on, and I don't even know if you guys are up that late. Last night, I think it was on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert. I think possibly the last episode. He gave a check. They've been selling all their old props because it's the end of the show and CBS has canceled it and it's not going to have a new host. And so they've been selling their props to benefit the World Kitchen organization that goes and feeds people in refugee camps, war zones, and stuff. What do you think about that as a cooking job, like traveling the world and like dangerous places and cooking for people, like cooking for all the volunteers? Is that something that you might want to do, or would you prefer to stay closer to home?
That's one of those like it's like hard to think about because you're like initially you're like, oh, that's so cool, but then
cool.
it's like if you start really thinking about it, because it's like whoa, it's
Super
scary,
dangerous.
especially when you say it's like dangerous spots or it's you feel it's like a lot of pressure, especially if it's like you feeding like a ton of people, which that's like how it is with caterings and stuff. But it's one of those things you're trying to genuinely. I don't know.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm just blank.
I asked because when I was a kid, like in high school age, like one of the things that I wanted to do was travel the world in service to people, but I wasn't really sure how to do that. I didn't have like a skill.
So that's where like it comes back to us, and like we want to provide exposure. So we want to show them, like we always try to keep our kids safe, obviously, especially when we're traveling and things like that. But we try to talk to them about like there's options out, and you might not know right now what you want to do, and as you grow, you start to find your path. And if you're not exposed to outside things like, you know, the World Kitchen and things like that, you may not know how to do that.
Right.
And so we try to do that as best we can. It's obviously, we can only do so much, but it's also, like, you know, this is what like that competition provides. Like when David first was on the first competition team in freshman year, correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, but he had never flown on an airplane, and that often happens. Like every time we have a competition team and we go to nationals or whatever, or we even going to state, we often have a student that has never been either outside of Carlsbad or never flown. Like we have either one of those things. And so, you know, it was really great. And this year, like we had students that had never been in a Whole Foods.
Wow.
And it's kind of like, this is one of the part of the jobs that I love the most, is it's like being a kid again. When you see those students like run, like not that they ran, but like just like that awe dropping, like, oh my gosh, like imagine you didn't know Whole Foods existed and walked in.
The beautiful produce,
and living
quality meats.
Yeah, living vicariously through those students and going, and them saying like, this is available. We can get this kind of stuff. And so, and then as a little treat, usually what I like to do is like when we do that, because we're stressed out shopping and trying to make sure everything, I'm like, hey, go find something that you don't know what it is and let's try it. Like go find a fruit, you know, like, so this past year I was like, go find a fruit that you want to try. And they found, I forgot, I'll have to ask our student, Camille, she found like some kind of fruit and she's like, what is this? And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't even know. And so it's continuous learning.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, let's go try it, you know? And so we try to incorporate those, and then also have like in our hallway, I'll have to show you, we have like kind of like a career board where I kind of try to put things up there that are like colleges or opportunities. So like when I learn of like things like the World Kitchen, I'll try to put it up there, or, you know, like the Coast Guard, you know, has a sign up bonus for culinary kids to, you know, to sign up for culinary. I'll try to put it up there and direct kids that way.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Because there's so many, because we all need to eat, right? So there's like so many opportunities to bring that joy to people. And we decided that we wouldn't ask cliche questions. I'm going to tell you, though, that one of my favorite things to make and eat is sauces. I love sauces. Even though I grew up in the 70s and there were commercials where they're like, don't drown your food in mayo, salt, ketchup, or goo. I do. I love it. Well, not salt so much. But salt is a working mineral and people should not avoid it. I don't want to ask you, like, what's the favorite new food that you tried this year, new dish that you made? It's not like your favorite thing to cook, but just like it was like an exciting discovery for you.
You can also do, what was the new technique that you learned this year that you are going to incorporate going forward?
That's a good one, too. Either of those.
So I would say what I was, I've never had a lamb loin before.
Oh,
And
nice.
it's not like regular lamb. It's very like, I feel like it's better. Like when you think of lamb, like most people think it's like a weird kind of taste, but this one's like not. It tastes a lot like similar to beef in a way.
Yeah.
And then also with the sauces, we do have a sauce under my dish, and it was a bourbon cream sauce, and that was like a really good sauce. I really liked it.
Yeah, I would like that a lot, too. Peppercorn. So good. David.
From my other competition that I do for a culinary program, it's skills. It's where I have to make a 3-course meal. Learned a lot of techniques from that, especially with my sauces. I had to make a mushroom sauce that I, of course, practice was making it good, and then when it comes to competition, I used too much of my stock, so I didn't have enough stock, and I added water, so it didn't go according to plan, but it was still a good experience, which it's going to help me in the future because I now know how to not do that. And, the sauce was really good in practice, and then my plating techniques got better than what they were freshman year. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah, I hope to build upon those techniques.
You know, people make fun of plating and like the whole height thing and everything, but like when that perfect plate comes to your table at a fine restaurant, like it's a work of art. Everybody's taking a picture of that and posting it to their socials before their fork touches it because it's beautiful. So plating skills are super important.
Yeah, we go through a lot of different skills, a lot of different techniques and stuff like that, and try to incorporate, you know, a lot of new things, but we also try to do things that the students are familiar with and keep that homey kind of vibe too going, which leads back to that like love you talked about. So some of the things like, you know, and we've talked about it as a team, you know, like when they're as a team not in a good mood, their practices don't go as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And you can tell it, and we've talked about that, and we do like try to David talked about, you know, like during a practice, you know, it might come out perfectly. So I play bad cop and I like sabotage stuff, and those days are miserable for everybody, including me. But we try to like you know, give them that, and that's a skill in itself, you know, like building up that resilience of like, how do I overcome this, and how do I fix this, and how do I move on,
Right, exactly.
and doing what it takes. And so and then I think, you know, we kind of back to your question of like what's your favorite stuff, like us as chefs, I think we have a lot of different favorite things. Like I go through a lot of like kind of phases. Like I'll have an Asian phase, so I want to make dumplings like over and over and over again. And then I'll have like an Italian phase or a pizza phase, and so like I kind of go through that. But I do always kind of come back to like street tacos, especially a walk-in style. I'm probably butchering that probably, but I, you know, and just making good food that people enjoy, and that's what we try to, you know, teach the kids and develop their work ethic and give them that starting point.
That's so great. You know, I love foods from around the world, which we're not super exposed to in Carlsbad, unfortunately. Though we have like 3 or 4 excellent types of Mexican food here. I got to shout out to that because like there are really some good foods here. Oaxacan is my favorite. I just made a Oaxacan mole negro.
Sounds amazing.
It's amazing, and it takes all day. All day, but it was so good. But, you know, for me, cooking is very much a labor of love. I do not get paid for it because I'm too slow in a kitchen, you know? Like, so, like, I realized really quickly and went into management when I was in the restaurant business because I was like, I am too slow and people do not want to wait for me. But I think, you know, there's still that absolute love of food, of trying new things, of new like crazy ways to combine things like fusion foods and stuff. Like I just think experimenting is the coolest part about cooking, you know, because it's a science as well as an art.
Yeah, and that's what, so we're pretty rigorous when it comes to like the normal classes, and that's what competition practices and kind of the higher level classes get to do. So like if you're a third or fourth year kid, you get a little bit more, leeway of like here's what we've got, kind of mystery baskets, and then during competition practices, the students, we help advise the students, but they have to develop it. So like with the lamb loin, for Joslyn, we said she wanted to do lamb. And so we were like, hey, let's buy this lamb loin. We got a really high quality one. And she started working with that, and it's evolved over the course of the, practices and years. And then same thing like with our dessert and stuff like that. It started out as a crepe cake, and they were making crepes and they were going to try to stack it. And, it just wasn't working out the way it did. And I don't really know how it morphed or who morphed, what happened, but it then turned into a roulade where you roll it up. Nice. And so it was like, and it was just like, it's kind of amazing and we also tell the students to take pictures from the beginning to the end so that they can actually see the progress and the change. Good idea. And so, it's really kind of neat to see that happening and experience it. So we do try to encourage that, playing and seeing how things work and what can you do and making it happen, and especially, we try to do that as much as possible, give them as much freedom as possible. But there's always, new things that come up that kids are excited to try, and we try to try it.
I love that. So, we're an AM station. We don't have a lot of teens listening, but if their grandparents are listening, what should they tell them about the first year of the culinary program at high school?
So first year students at CHS in the culinary department, we start off with a lot of safety and sanitation and allergen kind of stuff so that they can get a foundation of how to keep food safe and cook without getting anybody sick. Nice. And they cook about once a week. So they're in the kitchen about twice a week, so they see the demo. So we show them how to make it. You take notes, you write down your recipe, and then at a later date you go in and you make it happen, and then you get to eat it. And second year students are very similar to that, and we start to add more safety and sanitation, and they can get their food handler certificate, which is needed by state law to handle any food. And then third year students are where we kind of let them break free, and they start kind of working in a kitchen. And doing work that's like catering and selling stuff and kind of a little school kind of store kind of thing, or catering events and stuff like that. So those are the students that go to, the mayor events, or and those are the students that kind of start competing because they have a little bit more, they've built up their skills. But we will take any student that is interested and try to work them in. And then fourth year students are kind of like internships and OJT, so we try to get them out and about, but they also can work in our kitchen. And so third and fourth year students are pretty much in the kitchen every day, almost like we're in there every day.
I love that.
And so it's a wonderful program that can get your foot in the door if you're looking into doing that, or just also helping you become a better chef at home and trying to improve your skills and your grocery budget and stuff like that. So we try to, just overall just help lift up their skills.
This is way better than home ec. It was good. I'm not knocking it.
We're different than home ec.
Yeah.
And I still we still use home ec skills.
Absolutely.
So they pop a button off their chef coat. We learn how to, sew it back on. I don't teach all the students, but I'm like, hey, you popped your button. Let's learn this and do this. They also have to learn how to manage, do their laundry and all that. So I think where home ec was combined into different things, we've spread it and put it into different parts, and we still have those skills. So the financial literacy part still is in culinary, but it also is in their financial literacy class.
Right. Good, they have that too.
Yeah, and then we try to, this home ec-y skills where I'm talking about sewing and ironing and all that, I still bring them in because they're still relevant, but they're another craft, the art class I know does some stuff, so I think it's just gotten spread, and so we've concentrated on food more.
Yeah. I love that. All right. Joslyn, is there anything you would like to say before we wrap up? Anything you want to tell us about the program that you love?
She can say she loves Miss Hale.
You don't have to, though. You could say something else. I'm putting you on the spot. I'm sorry. I'll cut out your silence. Don't worry.
I will say this. What are you proud of this year? And where do you think you improved the most?
I think I really improved on like my skills and like making my dish and like my fastness and stuff, because last year it was really hard. Last year it was my first year competing, and then I just kind of got thrown into entree, and then it was a lot. And then I think learning from that into this year really helped me work through that.
Excellent. Thank you. David?
Again, I had a role, but it wasn't like the biggest, which I'm fine with that. I'm glad we had the team that we did. Everybody did great. The entree was great, appetizer was great, dessert was, and then Stephanie, which you'll hopefully be introduced to later, she was also a great help with everybody. And I hope next year they're able to do it again, because unfortunately, since I've gone to nationals twice, I'm not able to do it, but I'm proud of our team, and I hope they get first in nationals next year.
Absolutely. So 15th is not shabby out of 50 competing teams.
Yeah, that is probably the highest that I'm aware of that New Mexico has gotten in the last, 5 to 10 years.
That's amazing.
So, and just to kind of put it in perspective for listeners and stuff like that, we were like 1.5 points off from being in the top 5. Like,
Wow.
That is how close these competitions are. And so it is a lot of meticulous, like triple checking things and stuff like that, and making sure you have everything. And it's a very tough thing. So, to be that high, like if you're in the top 15, you're competing on a level that is big. And to also kind of put it in a little bit more perspective so we beat 77% of the people there, and most of those other schools that we are competing with are technical schools or career schools. They're not very, like, we're kind of more of a traditional high school.
Right.
And so I think we do a lot of great things with the students in the time we have, because, those schools they're attracting those kids that really want to be in culinary, and they might have them for a class for 2 to 4 hours, whereas our traditional classes are about 50 minutes.
Right.
And so the pros I do have for a double period, so I do have them about about 2 hours, but there's some breaks in between there. And the fourth year kids I have for 50 minutes. So like, that's why practicing outside of normal class time is important. But like, we are competing with the schools that have different resources.
Yeah.
And I think we're doing pretty well. I'm pretty,
You should definitely be proud.
I'm super proud. I just try not to give them big heads.
Fair. You got to keep them humble. That makes the best chef. So last question for part 1. I met you at the reception for the grand opening of the History Garden. How do people contact you if they're interested in hiring your team for their event?
So right now I'm the kind of lead teacher and lead catering person. So I prefer email.
Yeah.
It works really easy for me. I will say it's very hard to book us, though. We turn down more requests every year than I can imagine.
So good.
And it is good. It's a double-edged sword. We try to do what we can. So they can email me at the school. If they have Mr. Zink's contact information, they can contact him, and usually he directs them my way. So my email is amanda.hale@carlsbadschools.net. And if I don't respond, I try to check my spam, because it is a school email, so it is pretty restricted. They can also call the high school and ask for me, and it'll go to my room phone, and then if they leave a message, I will contact them back.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in for part 1 of our series with the culinary program at the Carlsbad High School.
You're listening to Community Forum on KCCC 930 AM, sponsored by Eddy County, honoring God, country, and family, thriving with industry since 1889.